Hey, it's me, Venus, and today I am doing a series. Yup, it's going to be 6 fan arts, and let's see if you can guess who I'm drawing today. While watching this time lapse, I also wanted to just talk about some other topics like art block and other art struggles that I face as an artist, or maybe other struggles that I face as a person. And maybe you can relate to some of the things that I go through, and if not, that's okay too. But feel free to leave any advice or any of your comments on what you think about these topics. First things first, the first thing I wanted to talk about is expectations versus reality. So I know me as my own person, I tend to think that I can learn something overnight and get better at it overnight. And then as I try to achieve that, I am met with huge disappointment because that's not a reality. Growth takes time, and sometimes you can't even see growth because you're so caught up in trying to grow. And sometimes I have to tell myself, just take a step back, breathe, and it's not the end of the world. Growth comes eventually. I feel like what matters the most is if are you enjoying this process? And if you're not, maybe you need to stop and ask yourself, where am I going wrong about learning? Because learning shouldn't be overwhelming, like overbearing, or very structured as, oh, I need to learn this by next month, or I need to get this technique down by the end of this week. Take your time and enjoy it. And that's not to say that you can't have goals, but when you're making these goals, try not to give yourself a deadline. Try to be like, hey, I want to learn this technique and I'm gonna take these certain steps to learn it. At least that's what I'm trying to implement myself. Now, when it comes to art block, that is something that I don't usually find myself in, but when I do, it's really hard to get out of. And it stumps my creativity, it stumps my mood, it affects my overall, I guess, mental state. But what I found works really best for me is taking that time that I do have art block to just invest myself in other things that I like. Sometimes I learned this about me. When I get art block, it's because I'm doing too much art, and I know that's like, oh, but how can you do too much art or whatever if you're enjoying it? But there are times when you need to take a step back from something. Like I was saying earlier about learning and growing, you need to take a step back. And I found that when I take a step back from art and just dive in something else, like, oh, I love watching anime, I go watch whatever I want to watch, and I'm like, it gives my mind a break. Sometimes you need a break. And don't get me wrong, I know that there's sometimes a guilt people feel, or I know that I feel when I'm taking a break from something, but I think people need to realize that we are human. We need breaks, even from things that we love, to just do something else. Stimulate your mind somewhere else by doing something else. It could be exercising, it could be reading, writing. There are so many other great things that you can learn to do. You don't always have to put your eggs in one basket. And I know it sounds like I'm preaching, but It's really something that I try to go by myself, because I always feel like, oh, I'm an artist. I just need to do art. I just need to sit at my desk all day and draw and draw and draw until I can't draw anymore. But I learned quickly that I cannot function like that. It wears me down. It contributes to, well, it actually gets me to art block. And then I'm just in a bad state. But slowly I was like, okay, I realize when I'm trying to force myself to do all this art and stuff, whatever, that I'm giving myself art block. And why would you give yourself art block, you know? So what I started doing is I started going to the gym. I started doing other hobbies. I'm learning how to play the guitar, even though I am not that great, but it's fun. That's all that matters. I'm having fun and I'm stimulating myself in a different way than doing art. And that's not to say that, oh, art does I don't get any enjoyment from doing art, because I do. Like, when I make art, I'm excited. Like, I just want to throw myself into my tablet or whatever. Like, I just can't like sit still. That's how excited I get when I'm doing art. But it's okay to get excited about other things, is what I'm trying to say. And I find that helps me get over my art block. I think of it as a mini vacation, and whenever I return to what I was doing or to make something new, I find that my mind is a lot more clear. And who knows, maybe these topics that I discuss can help you with your art journey and help you learn more about yourself. But that is all that I wanted to talk about, and you can enjoy the rest of this time lapse. So feel free to let me know what you think about anything, really, and I'll see you next time.